used to have a membership to the American Quilter Society, and I think I've let it lapse.
You're not muted, hang on.
Oh.
Where'd that go? Hi, folks.
Hi.
Hi. It's
Hello.
Jennifer, Gary, and Beth right here. Yep, that's who it is. Welcome, everyone. Tonight, it was just going to be a simple stitch and chat, but then I went to the National Quilt Museum, and I have lined up 69 photos of quilts. Oh, don't mess with me.
Quilting. Don't you see my quilting back there? Don't you see
Yeah,
it?
nice.
Yeah. There's the quilt, yep. So I have 69 photos. I just went around the Quilt Museum. Jennifer has come loaded for quilts, yep.
It's just, I need to put a binding on it. It's just sitting here.
So I have 69 photos. So we're just going to go through them like a vacation slideshow. If you get bored, let me know. But just going to fire through them because they're just, and that's like 20 or so that I didn't keep put in the bunch just because it's too many. But if you get to the National Quilt Museum or get a chance to go, Beth said it. It's pretty spectacular. It's quilting.
Yeah.
Well, we were just talking beforehand. I'll never be a quilter. I have no interest, but I've never seen quilt like that. I've just never seen anything like they have on display there. I mean, it's
yeah, it's phenomenal.
yeah, it's incredible. I got today from my sister, my aunt, who died several years ago, was a ridiculous collector of all things. And my sister got thimbles from my aunt. And she sold a few, she said, and the guy finally said, look, I can't move these things in my store, so I don't want any more. So she sent them to me. And here's...
Ooh, nice.
Pretty.
Cool. Are they usable or are they just decorative?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
They all
yeah.
have... Yeah. But then
I guess
there's
you
a
wouldn't
whole
want to
bunch...
use them though. Those
These
are
are
too
the-
fancy to use.
These are the fancy ones, but then there's a whole bunch of regular ones
Oh,
that, so, I don't know, but, you know, that's pretty cool.
pretty.
It's hard to
Yeah,
tell.
nice.
So, I don't know.
Nice.
I'll learn a little something about them. It was just kind of a cool thing, came in the mail today. Oh, I forgot to put up the thing. So the drawing tonight is not up on the screen because we were talking and I forgot. So there's that.
Oh,
Should have done
We
it.
distracted him.
Hang on just a second. All right, the subjects are flare and DMC. Okay, now we got it.
there it is.
All right, so the drawing tonight, if you won 2 weeks ago or so, you should have them. I mailed them myself, so you should have them by now. If not, they're on their way, but they already should be in your hands. So the drawings tonight, I need to go through this every time because we might have new people. So the drawings are for people who are participate in the live show only, because I do the drawing right after the show. And what you do to be in the drawing is you send an email during the show. It's right there at the bottom, Gary@WeTalkFiber.com. And we have 2 drawings tonight. Okay, so 2 drawings. So you can enter one, the other, or both. And you put in the subject line, and you have to send 2 emails if you want to be in both. So in the subject line, you put flare to be in one, and you put DMC to be in the other. You can do one, the other, or both. We don't care. Just enter once, only once in each. And it has to be during the show because right after the show I do the drawing. So the flare one is more of these, 3 more of these packs of 10 or 12 or whatever it is, Rainbow Gallery threads, mostly flare, though this package is Frosty Rays. This is flare, and this is Neon Rays. So it's a mixture this time. So, I mean, these are just, threads that a friend of mine gave a long time ago, a whole bunch of them to give away. And they're just stash building things. But, you know, there's a mixture of colors you can see in there. So,
Nice.
so those 3. So enter, and you put subject line flare, and then in the email, body of the email, you put your name and address. And then we do a drawing, and you have a chance to win one. The other one, in which you put in the subject line DMC, these came from D. Longo, if I have my notes correct. Somewhere I wrote it down, I thought. I don't know. Anyway, these are all cross-stitch. So there's this one, which is a Rebecca Nolan Lucy Beam design, and it's this little pot. It's 54 by 53. So it's just a little bitty
Quick
thing.
stitch.
Yeah.
Quick stitch.
So that's a chart. And then there are 2 kits, 2 DMC kits. One is this Dandelion Tea. This is DMC Moulin inside. So Dandelion Tea,
Oh, cool.
kind of a fun thing. And it's a full
Yeah.
kit,
Wow.
all set up and everything. So this has never been open. Nope, never been open.
Wow.
And then the other
Nice.
one is a postage stamp. This is pretty cool.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, back when stamps were 22 cents. It's a historic
Yeah.
stamp. It's a historic stamp.
Yes.
Ah,
Yeah.
there you go.
So this one's now, oh, this has been open, but everything should be in here, as far as I know. But it's DMC thread, so, you know, if it's missing, if something is missing, you certainly have it. But, you know, here's the Ada. So, Yeah. So anyway, DMC is the line, the subject line, and please just put DMC or Flair in the subject line and watch your spelling, so that you get into the right mailbox in my email system. Misspellings go to the other box. You don't want to be there. So that's during the show. And winners the last time, which was, 2-3 weeks ago now, Ann McSweeney, Heather Cowan, and Judy Stone, but you should already have yours. So, done. Checked off. Okay, Sunday is Rita Gaspar from Portugal. She's our guest, and this is one of Rita's pieces. We had so much fun talking to her. She's a real treat. A lot of fun from Portugal, and this is the kind of work that she does, and a whole bunch of it. So join us for that, or do that. And again, I just remind people that the best way to listen to these podcasts is to do them through podcast apps, because then they download automatically for you. And if you download them to your device, then you don't need to be attached to Wi-Fi to listen, or the internet to listen. Most people listen that way. Just get an app. It's on most of the apps. And then subscribe to Fiber Talk, and then they'll come to you automatically. That's the best way. So Rita will be our guest on Sunday. And then now the next two Wednesdays, we're not going to have a Wednesday podcast or a Stitch Hour. So 2 weeks off for Wednesday shows. We will have in between Sunday, we will have a podcast, but not any Wednesday shows. My schedule is such that it just isn't going to work at all. So yes, Inherited should be on Spotify. Should be. I'm pretty sure I signed up for that. So next 2 Wednesdays, no shows, and then we'll be back on the 9th, and with the full schedule. So. And then I got an email today. I think I have to go to another conference the week before Thanksgiving. So that'll be another one where we're going to miss out. But anyway, we'll be back on the 9th. And so just the next 2 Wednesdays, there won't be any Wednesday activity, but there will be a Sunday show. Unavoidable. We talked about in the Wednesday show today, Beth and I, we were wondering about boxes that will hold Rainbow Gallery cards, these goofy shaped things, which look really cool hanging on a rack, but when they get home and you want to store them away, not so good. Robin Rossignol wrote this afternoon, a Plano 3730. Plano 3730, basically a tackle or toolbox, is what she uses to store Rainbow Gallery cards. So that's a good option. I could not, the ones that Beth has with the really cool boxes that lift out, I looked high and low. I don't think they're made anymore.
I can't find them. No, it's so sad. So sad.
Those are cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Plano 3730 if you need to store something. Let's see. I can listen while I do housework. I have something controversial to say. Okay. Judy must be rains and flooding. Yeah. Okay. Stiff linen is great for small projects. That's controversial? No?
No, I don't think so. I don't know.
Mm-mm. All in agreement here. Go
Whatever
for it.
works.
Yep.
Whatever works.
I like my linen more on the more body side anyway. I have this piece of linen almost as stiff as a board. Yep, that'd work. Easy. So, and then back to over here to the old iPad. When we were in Paducah Tuesday and heard Leslie Leslie Rinchen Wangmo. She did a presentation on Threads of Awakening, and this is her reading a little bit from the book. She did a terrific job. I have to say to you that when, we know this from pictures of everything, the pictures never deliver needlework like the real thing. Double that for these Tonkas. Holy smokes, those things, the real things, wow, what they're just amazing. The layering, the precision with how she has all that horsehair stuff. You know, all the lines are horsehair wrapped in
Yeah.
silk. All these lines in here. Whoops. Well, I'm putting my finger on. You can't see my finger. I'm such an idiot. Here, hang on just a second. Right. All these lines, those are all horsehair. These white ones here, horsehair wrapped in
Yeah.
silk. Those things are so beautifully done, and they are couched so tight that you can barely tell there's couching thread wrapped around those things. Barely tell. It's stunning the work she does. But to see these things in real life, wow, just amazing stuff. If she's going to the East Coast now, her next. Let's see, the 21st, she's in Fort Mill, South Carolina, but that's for Sun City residents only. Then the 23rd, she's at Urban Dharma in Asheville, North Carolina. Then she goes to Eastport Annapolis Neck Library in Annapolis on the 25th, and then Old Fox Books in Annapolis on the 26th. So if you're in the East, and then she has some others in the East Coast. If you're in the East and you can get to see her, she's such a wonderful lady. And to see, she has 3 Tonkas that she had with her, and to see these things right up close is just,
That would be amazing.
oh, I cannot tell you how I just stood there. I'm sure my jaw was hanging open because it's so beautifully done. It's so tight, and you get in and look. She has one that she has is cotton. It's all cotton. Like these are all silks, but one she has is all cotton. You can see the couching on that because of the nature of the things. But the real deal silk ones, you can barely tell that those horsehair things are couched down. It's just amazing work. It's so precise and so smooth. And she passed around horsehair that she'd wrapped in silk. That was pretty wild. But you can't even, it doesn't even look like it's wrapped.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it's that well done.
Really?
Like there was a couple pieces where the silk had gotten snagged up, and so you could tell. But it's just so perfect, so perfect.
Wow.
Interesting. Yeah, it'd be neat to see that in person.
Yeah. So if you can go, please go. Make it, even if you like. We drove 3 hours to get there, and at one point I was thinking, what are we doing? But no, I haven't regretted it a second. She's just something else, and she's obviously selling books. So if you don't have one, again, highly recommend Threads of Awakening. It's worth it. Buy it. Support her. Support these artists. I mean, she's traveled all the way across the country from California. She's now headed to the East Coast. Then she's got to drive all the way back. But she said she had a couple stops on the way back, but basically she's making a trip all the way back. So she's staying, and people are hosting her, and she's doing these talks. And the talk cost nothing. There was no cost for the talk. Didn't even have to pay to get into the museum.
Wow.
Wow.
To go to the exhibit you had to pay, but to see her you didn't have to pay. So completely free. So please support her. Buy her book, and even if you can't go see her, that book is such a good book. It really is. So,
yeah. A good read.
Yeah, support her. Yep. So anyway, that was a treat. I was really glad we did that. And then, we got to the museum, the Quilt Museum. Wow. Yeah, Beth said in the text, "I told you so."
Yeah.
And
Told you so.
and Jennifer follows a lot of these anyway, so she knows.
yeah.
So yeah. So
There's a lot of quilt shows too. So I've seen.
Man, I've never seen quilting like this ever.
Oh wow! I didn't know that you were like that far. Like you've not
out
seen
of touch.
any of the
Yeah.
No, never seen anything like this. So what I did
Wow.
was we had a little time before Leslie's talk, and then afterwards it was like 4:15 and they closed at 5. I just went like a crazy person around that exhibit and took pictures. I had 143 images. A bunch of them were the plaques that explained the quilt. But so you're going to see, I put together 68 or 9 of them tonight. So we're just going to go through them slideshow style. If you get bored, scream at me and tell me to stop. but
No
we're just
way.
going to go through them fast. And there's 20 or so that I just at some point I spent all morning putting this together. So at some point I just had to move on to something else. So we're just going to go through these things. Jennifer and Beth will watch. If you have questions, I'm not even going to look at the comments. I'm just going to go. If you have questions, fire them, and they'll interrupt me, and then we'll get through it. So here we go. Just buckle up and enjoy these things. They're amazing. Here, I'm going to send in your email for the drawing. I'm going to take that down because it's just going to be in the way of this art.
Yeah.
And this is art.
Yeah.
I mean, folks, this is art.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so when you walk into up the path, the sidewalk to the place, this is one of the stained glass windows that greet you. So if you wonder if you're going to a quilt museum, there it is.
Yeah.
Then in the lobby area is this one, and I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. And then I read the plaque. This is Fraser Smith's floating quilt. This is not cloth. This is basswood that he carves and glues pieces together and uses watercolors to paint them.
What? That's wood?
That's all wood. Yeah,
Oh,
that's not no.
wow.
And you can see there's a curve down here. Yeah, no, it looks, if you could touch it, you could
looks
tell.
quilted.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh
No,
my
no,
goodness.
that's all carved basswood.
Wow.
Yeah. And I looked him up, and that's what he does. That's his deal. Yeah,
Oh
so how about that?
my.
So that was the first one.
It even has a wrinkle at the top.
Right. I know.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. He carves pieces of basswood, glues them together, paints them. And,
You can see the hand quilting dimples.
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
So Fraser Smith.
Yeah.
And then this was also in the lobby. This is stained glass. This is Katie Couch's A Radius Around Ourself. And the glass was done by Jack Wallace. So that's just beautiful stained glass. Then you go into the exhibit, and this is Valerie White's. I'm just going to go through these. If you have a question or want to say something, squawk. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep firing because we'll be here all night otherwise. So this is Valerie White's Emerging for Tea, and she made this to acknowledge and applaud the beauty of African women. This is textile paint, 3 cats African fabrics, and hand drawing.
Okay, now you got to stop.
Okay.
So was it painted? Did she paint it onto the fabric? Can you zoom in a little bit on that one?
A lot of these have painted fabric. Yeah.
Okay, so she did. I wonder if she painted and then appliqued.
Yeah, some of this, it looks appliqued, and the background is quilted. Yeah.
Oh, and look at the lace on her dress.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's real lace.
Okay, yeah, beautiful.
And then it looks
Well
like
done.
these African fabrics she used like down here on the dress and yeah. A lot of these have paint on them. And then there's some that I'll show you that have embroidery on them too.
Yeah, sometimes you can do watercoloring or other kind of paint. I've even seen people use crayon, and then
really?
you heat the crayon and set it. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff that people do to their quilts in addition.
Yep, it's so cool. All right, this one is Arturo Alonso Sandoval. This is Pattern Fusion number 18 motherboard, and this is salvaged materials and processes visual high-tech fusion. So I mean, this is a computer motherboard, but
are those lots of teeny tiny pieces pieced together into strips? It looks like.
Yeah, like these are all little rectangles you can see pieced together.
Yeah.
And strips
Nice.
and yeah.
Cool.
Did it light up?
No, but it did. Some of these things were reflective. Yeah.
Okay, all
Didn't
right.
light up. No.
Yeah, because they were selling something that had little lights, and they would put them in their quilts for a while. Do you remember that, Jennifer? Did you ever hear about
Kinda.
that?
Yeah,
it was
I've seen
kinda
the
cool.
mirrors mostly. I might have missed that trend. It doesn't sound like it lasted very long.
No. Anyway, sorry.
That's all right. No, that's
No.
okay. That's
I
okay.
mean,
This is Melissa Sabatka,
Yes,
Silk
I've
Road
seen this
Silk
before.
Road sampler, Istanbul spice bar, and a vendor with had a bunch of ornate pillows So she recreated that from the spice bar she saw in Istanbul. And some of these, they say what they're made out of, so I wrote that down. So it's cotton, and then machine appliqué, painted, and then long arm quilted.
Mm-hmm.
The trouble with these is the quilting is as amazing as the art itself.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I found
Mm-hmm.
myself sticking my nose right up next to him to see the quilting.
Yes. Just
Mm-hmm.
no touching.
I know.
No touching.
And let me just tell you,
There.
that's hard not to do.
I know. It is.
Oh,
Yeah.
I missed the fringe. Look at the tassels down here.
Yeah. I've seen this one in magazines before. I haven't seen it in real life,
Yeah. It's giant
but
too.
I have seen it before, and it's just
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. That's cool. Okay, then this is Pat
Pretty.
Durbin Forest Walk, and this was inspired, Redwood Park in Arcata, California, was inspired by that. Cottons is machine pieced, raw edge, appliqued, and machine quilted. And the quilting in here this is one of those where the quilting,
Mm-hmm.
how close that's the closest I can get. But you know, she just created tree texture and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that neat? Isn't that neat how they can do that? You know, a
Yeah.
good quilter, they just really
Yeah.
enhance it with their quilting.
I have a long arm, and I hardly practice. I mean, I haven't used the thing in a couple of years. It's bad. But
Yeah, those aren't cheap.
I no, I don't have a huge one. I have a smaller one, so it was not as expensive. It's like a ginormous embroidery hoop. But because you have to move the quilt around, it's not, you don't load it on with
Oh,
like the big rollers. I don't have the rollers. It's a different kind.
oh, okay.
But I have done like a couple. I've done some quilts on it, and I did one for my mom where each section I did different and stuff, and I do okay. I do pretty good for not hardly using it.
Yeah.
But I've
Yeah, the,
promised myself to get down there and use it more. I have a
Okay.
lot of quilts I need quilted, so.
Oh, okay. Well then, yeah. Aki Sakai. Aki Sakai, Happy Thanksgiving. This is minuscule
Oh
applique
yeah.
pieces that set detailed scenes in the central home. Give thanks is spelled out in the banner on top. This is cottons, hand appliqued, embroidered, hand pieced, and hand quilted. Hand quilted.
Yeah.
Now this is one hand
Oh
quilted.
yeah. Oh yeah.
oh, beautiful.
Hand quilted. I will repeat.
I know. I hand quilt.
Oh,
I hand pieced and hand quilted that one that I just showed you.
yeah.
Hand pieced it too. No machine touched this thing.
I'm a purist. I'm Jennifer.
Every now and
Yeah,
then,
it's gorgeous. That's gorgeous.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. So pretty.
All right, this one is Juanita Gibson Yeager, Lilies of Autumn, Cottons, hand pieced, hand quilted. This was more traditional. I did a few of the more traditional looks just because they're
Mm-hmm.
beautiful, but
Well, kinda. It's traditional with a big old twist.
oh, okay.
It's still very artistic with traditional elements that they threw an artistic spin on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
This
oh,
one,
cool.
I was going to look up the history. This is Sue McCarty's After Hadrian. And she's British is and always Britain is and always has been a land of strategic significance, inordinate beauty, and mystifying magic. I was introduced to her charms when the U.S. Air Force, sent me to Bentwaters Air Force Base in '76. From that point on, I was captivated and researched the creation of this nation. I guess it's Hadrian, and this is cottons and long arm machine quilted. But I mean, there's a whole history in these bands. I started to read it, and then I just had to move along.
Hmm.
But she's got a whole history on either
Oh,
Oh,
side. But look
wow.
at the detail in here.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Check out that wicked looking mermaid. The green hair. Right up further. Above, right there. See?
Oh,
See the mermaid with the harp,
oh yeah.
the green hair? She's gonna get you.
But yeah, that's pretty amazing.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. I like that.
So
Yeah,
much
it's
texture.
gorgeous.
And
Mm-hmm.
then yeah, there's a whole both sides. There's this whole history.
Wow.
And I don't know my history
Yeah,
enough. I gather Hadrian is a small country, or was back in time. I don't know.
Remember the Hadrian's Wall? There's that wall way up there. And my
Yeah,
husband would know. He's super history man. He knows American history better than I do. So,
yeah. I'm no help at all. So, but that was pretty cool.
yeah.
And
That was
I really
pretty.
like this one. This is Molly Hamilton McNally's Midnight Frolic. These butterflies could not resist the lure of the soft glow of moonlight as they frolic in a beautiful garden. This is cottons, and it's machine quilted and hand embroidered.
Nice. Oh,
oh,
yeah.
oh,
Look at that.
very nice.
Look at how the quilting
Yeah,
does its whole, or is that embroidery there?
I think that's all quilting.
Yeah. You have to get really, because it said hand embroidered too, so I wonder which parts are
Yeah, I
embroidered.
was looking for the hand embroidered. I didn't.
You'd have to, that's where you get real close and they make sure you're not touching.
Yeah.
Don't breathe on it.
Don't, don't touch it. The docents come and flip. I like having them flip it, and so you can look at the back,
Mm.
Oh,
see
yeah. So you
the
can see the
quilting
back.
on it. Ah,
Yep.
But that was one of my favorites. Those colors I really
Yeah.
like. Yeah,
Yep.
beautifully done. Yep. So that's Midnight Frolic.
Definitely. Wow.
And then there was a whole exhibit. Oh, this is
Oh, cool.
Nancy Starrett Martin and Karen Sistek, the Honeymooners. Silk. I didn't know if you guys knew this word. Silk habotai, Habotai, hand painted and machine quilted.
Hmm.
I don't know silk
Hmm.
habotai, but
Hand painted. Is that what you said?
yeah, she said it says hand painted,
Hmm.
machine quilted. But you know the feathers, it look like they're all quilted. I can't tell if they're painted or quilted.
Yeah. Well, I bet they
so
painted
but
it
she did,
on.
and yeah, and then quilted it.
Yeah. Is the silk habitat, is that a type of fabric?
I'm guessing. I'm guessing.
Because
Must
I
be. I
don't
have no
know that
idea.
word.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
and I
think all
can't
the
look right now.
texture. Yeah, I know, me neither.
But look at the background.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I think I've seen that. Wasn't that in one of the quilt magazines?
Oh, it might have been.
It seems like I've seen that one before, but yeah, that's gorgeous. I mean, I just love
Oh,
it. Oh,
I
the
don't
colors
remember
on it.
that one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's pretty
well,
cool. Yeah. So Nancy Starrett Martin and Karen Sistek, the Honeymooners. Okay, now there was this exhibit. These are all painted and then quilted. So this is from rust to dust, and um, oh, from rust to dust, and then I didn't write down. Oh, that shows how fast I was going. Hang on just a second. Um, I got to give the name. Hang on, just a second. Darn it.
Es- Esterita Austin,
Yeah.
was that her? Okay, was that her exhibit? Because you,
Oh, just a minute. Darn it.
oh, okay, silk. Okay, so that's a lightweight silk, says Sandy. The silk.
Yeah. Oh,
How
here.
about?
Look. I ended right up at it. So, yeah, you're right.
Okay,
Esterita Austin, from rust to dust, and first came to a junkyard of rusted vintage cars reclaimed by nature. It occurred to me that this was the penultimate recycling program. Nature takes back what man has made. So Esterita is in Port Jefferson, New York. So yeah. Okay, good. I got lucky, and of all the files, I found that one.
I
Oh my
know.
God.
You just
woo,
Bravo me, huh? Lucky.
yeah,
So
I
anyway,
want
so
to see these.
these are just so cool. Just these old cars, and they're painted, and then the quilting. I won't, but you can see all the quilting is done that gives them their texture.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I did a bunch of
Mm-hmm.
these because they're old cars and they're cool.
those are neat.
Yeah. See, again, she takes a photo somehow, blows up, and then does just one section of it. How, okay, so think of that with our embroidery too, even.
Yeah.
Just taking like you've taken photos of flowers just Yeah.
Oh, look at
Oh,
the
look at
bird's
that.
nest.
That is so cool.
I mean, you just wouldn't have to. And this is only like maybe 20% of the exhibit. It was just tons of them.
Oh, wow.
And then there was these small ones. Those others are big ones, but these small ones that were just the various auto badges or logos.
Oh, yeah.
Ford
Like
Fairlane.
small, how small?
Um, maybe 2.5 feet long.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's small.
The others were big ones. So
Right.
so that was cool. Okay, so that's Esterita Austin, Rust to Dust. Then Priscilla Sage. I didn't realize what I was looking at when I saw these. So Priscilla Sage, these are, she has three of them, and I only photographed two. The third one was over on the right, and I was in a hurry. So it's winged sapphire, winged saffron, and winged vermilion. These are silver mylar, Japanese paper, car headline, which I don't know what that is, beads. They're hand painted, machine pieced, and machine quilted.
Oh, wow.
And they're complete
Neat.
3D, like mobile type thing.
Right. Cool. Very
Very
interesting.
neat.
Yeah.
Very neat. Hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
Very pretty.
Yeah. Imagine a couple of those hanging in your house. That would be pretty cool to have. Dust magnets, but whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, this is Ricky Tim's Passage, which expresses the gentleness of
Mhm.
passing from this life to another. This is Ricky's own hand-dyed cotton fabrics, commercial batiks, machine piece
Petite.
applique, batiks. Say
Oh,
it,
Petites.
yeah. Batik.
batik,
Uh-huh.
batik.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this machine pieced, placed, or pieced, appliqued, and machine quilted.
Oh,
Nice.
beautiful. Oh. Oh, so he dyed his own fabrics.
Yeah, very
Very
cool.
cool.
All right, next one. This was my favorite of all of the
Ooh.
conventional type. Conventional. You're
Yeah,
right.
that's a little bit more traditional-ish right there.
This was my
Yeah.
favorite, and I did several. So this is Elsie Mae Campbell's Summertime. She says my favorite part of making quilts has always been quilting. I love designing quilting motifs to fill the quieter spaces in the quilt surface with texture. This is cottons. It's hand pieced, appliqued, all hand pieced, hand appliqued, hand embroidered, hand beaded, hand quilted. All of it.
Ooh, hand quilted too. Zoom in on
And
that quilting in the blue.
I did some close-ups.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
look at the color gradations she's got there.
Nice.
That's nice.
She even used red thread in her quilting, it looks like. I see some red
Now
by the hearts.
these designs we could lift and use it for embroidery. But look at the quilting in the empty spaces. So cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Beautiful.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh, and look at that quilting. Oh
Yeah,
my word.
yeah, that was pretty neat. And that was a big piece too. It was a big quilt,
Mm-hmm.
giant quilt.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's
I know.
huge. That is giant.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
Okay, so
even
would you
like,
put
look
that on
how
your
the
bed?
edge. No, on the wall. That's a wall quilt.
Yeah, she's got the edge all.
The edge is all scalloped and special, not just straight.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
Okay,
was
and Sharon wants to know, did you ever melt crayons in a tin can and then brush it on fabric?
no.
No. But I did a thing in junior high for art class where we used melted wax and painted it on the fabric, like in a design, and then you put watercolor and you paint in the fabric. Then you melt that wax off. Did we? No, you leave that
Mm-hmm.
on, but then you cover the whole thing in wax. You crumple it and you put it in a jar of dye. and
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
take it out and you iron it all off. And I think I still have, I think I have it in the basement. I sewed a fish out of this fabric that I made doing that
Hmm.
in junior high in art class. It's super cool. It's like making your own batik fabric in a way, because that's
Hmm.
sort
Hmm.
of kind of how they do it.
Hmm. I don't know
Yeah, I
Yeah.
batik.
never liked the ironing the wax out. I never liked the ironing the wax out part. That was,
Oh,
yeah,
nah, that's fine. Oh,
Yeah, this
not my
was
favorite.
just I
That's
I
gorgeous though.
yeah. I took close-ups because I just was blown away. It's just
yeah.
Yeah.
So you'd never
Yeah.
seen something like this before.
no, heavens
See,
no.
I've seen tons of this before.
No.
I know.
So,
I'm like,
okay.
yeah, and I always go to quilt shows because some of the big ones,
Mm-hmm.
they have quilts like this, and it's just so inspirational. So look at that heart with the flower motifs going out. That would be such a pretty thing just to embroider.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So very
just
cool.
gorgeous.
Yeah. Yeah. That was my favorite.
Yep, it's
Oh,
beautiful.
a stamp design.
Yep.
Where's my
Mm-hmm.
where's my piece of paper? I need to make a note.
I don't know.
Well, you're not any help, Gary.
Sorry. Sorry.
Mhm.
So yeah, so that was cool. That was um Elise Elsie Mae Campbell, Summertime.
Mm-hmm.
And then right next to it was this one,
Ooh.
and this is this is quilter language. This is Dahlias in the Snow. Okay, this is
Mm-hmm.
Dahlias in the Snow from the Mary Kerr Twisted collection, which I assume she's some designer who has a collection. I don't know. Created and
Yeah.
quilted
We
by Joanne Blade and Kim Diamond. Joanne and Kim took an ill-made top from the 1940s and made it into this quilt, is what I got out of the writing.
oh nice.
But is Mary Kerr a designer? Do you know?
Uh Probably. I haven't followed that world closely for a
Yeah.
while, but it looks like what they probably did was cut. I'm thinking that flower, which is a dahlia flower,
Mm-hmm.
they might have those flowers inside the petals look like they've been cut off of an old quilt and then put onto this other, and then you can see the clamshell thing at the bottom looks twisted. Do you see how it looks like a twisted rope? So that might be the twisted thing.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, those clamshells. Because that pink and green, that's a really old fashioned color from way back in the day.
Mm.
Super pretty.
That is.
And this
That
must
is
be the
just
original
gorgeous.
because it looks kind of.
Yeah, I think they cut those pieces out. It must have been some big quilt.
Yeah, see
Yes,
the
Sharon
gray
says it
is
might be
modern.
from a Baltimore album quilt. Sharon says it does look like it could be bits from a Baltimore album quilt that they cut and used.
Oh, okay. Because if you go back like this area over here, that's all really well
Oh,
done.
that's not even pieced.
No.
That's
Those are the
fabric.
pattern. Oh, it is a fabric. Maybe it's that
I
twisted
see.
Oops.
whatever they're talking
Ah,
about is the fabric.
what did I
Yeah,
do?
the twisted Mary Kerr twisted collection. But then
Oh,
but
that might
that
be the
that gray
fabric.
dots, the gray dotted fabric looks new.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
I think the
I mean
old
that looks
part,
like a real mod. Is
yeah,
the big medallion?
yeah, the flowers,
They
I
cut
think the
that out.
old part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. And they cut it up and made those lines with the dotted fabric, and then used the twisted Mary Kerr twisted collection. Very cool.
Yeah. Which must be what that clamshell looking. I thought those were piece clamshells, so you got up close.
Yeah. Very
Awesome.
neat. Very neat.
Yeah, that's very
Yeah. So
pretty.
there's obviously a story of quilting technology, technique, whatever. I don't know. But it was. I keep doing that. But just if you stand back, not getting in close, you stand back, and it's just
Mm-hmm.
really beautiful.
Oh
And
yeah.
and
Right.
these up here, I just really love those. You could do a whole
Oh
quilt with
yeah.
just those. Whoops, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they do have whole cloth quilts where you just take a big piece of fabric and you just do quilting on it. You don't do
Oh,
any piecing, anything else. It's just the quilting, and that makes the quilt, and it's called whole cloth quilting. They even have this fabric out that, like, the color radiates out from the center and changes, and people do these whole, like, flower, and they just do the quilting and make it look like this huge blooming flower. It's
huh.
amazing. Yeah.
Well, that was pretty cool. And that was a giant. That was a giant one too. I mean, that was a huge,
Oh yeah.
huge piece. Yeah. All right. Then this one. Oops. This one is Shirley Kelly's Puffins, and it's cottons,
Hmm.
hand appliqued and hand quilted. And I love this one.
Oh, fun.
It's very cute.
You know, and again, the quilting makes the rocks and the birds and
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Yeah.
Interesting.
over there. Yeah, so I did a couple close-ups so you could see.
Oh yeah.
How she pieced it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what am I doing? I did a close-up so you could see right up there.
Oh, there you go. Look at that. Nice.
So yeah, so that I like that. I mean, a
Yeah.
pile of
Very,
birds on a rock. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. It's very nice.
yeah, very neat. I like
And,
that. And her colors, it's very, just the pop of red, just that little bit of red.
mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It just, it makes it a nice color combination when you look at it that way.
So that was pretty neat. Come on, cooperate here. Oh, there we go. And then this one,
Uh-huh.
whoa. This is Annette Kennedy's Mountain Chapel. And it's her photo, original photo of St. Catherine Chapel in Allens Park, Colorado. And this is cottons, some
Hmm.
hand painting, raw edge fused applique, and then machine quilted.
Nice.
This was,
Cool. So I guess each rock piece is its own piece, and
I did some close-ups so we can tell.
uh, oh yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
your raw edge right there. Nice.
But this was probably the one that of what I saw most looked like a photo.
Mm-hmm.
What I had, yeah.
I know. I love to follow the quilt lines, watch how they flow, and
But cutting all, oh
It's
darn
very,
it,
and cutting all those little pieces out and appliquing them on and making it look, yeah, very cool. I like, I like that.
yeah, it's impressive.
yeah, for sure.
You talk about a stash of fabric to be able to pull off something like this.
Yes, I know. This kind of art quilting, it does require a lot of fabric.
But you know, even
Oh.
if you look at just the lighting on the building with the rocks and how she made it go into shadow, I mean, how many
Mm-hmm.
different pieces of cloth do you have to pull that off?
Yeah. Well,
Right.
sometimes in a big boutique, you'll have two different colors or shades on one piece of fabric.
Oh,
So that is a possibility. But yeah, you need a lot. I mean,
Yeah. Justification for keeping a large fabric stock.
uh-huh. Look at the sky.
yeah.
So cool.
Yeah, this
Nice
made
too.
me wonder, you know, because especially in painted canvas, people ask, what stitch do you use to create sky? And I'm sure that
Mhm.
same question comes up in quilting.
Mhm.
How do you
Yeah.
create sky?
Depending on what you want. Yeah, I mean, what kind of sky.
Um, Robin says you need to go to Maine and take the boat out to Matinus Rock to visit the puffins.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll go to Maine any day. I've been to Maine several times. I'll keep that in mind. Yeah, I'll go to New England any day. I love that area, especially
Yep, we were
Maine.
just in Rhinebeck over the weekend, which is like a couple hours from my house in New York on the kind of closer to the Connecticut border. And oh my gosh, so gorgeous. They had the Sheep and Wool Festival.
Ah.
I got some fluff and some spindles.
Yeah, Boston. Well, Boston is
That's
just one of
beautiful.
my favorite cities. But anyway, so that was
Yeah.
Annette Kennedy's, and now this one,
Oh, what's this?
an artist was not given. I think it's an old one. It's called Embroidered,
Oh.
and it's from northern Indiana. I mistyped that. Indiana. It's vertical strip quilt or stripe quilt, fuchsia dyed and bleached white cotton, embellished with silk embroidery. And I did some close-ups. But this was a giant quilt.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
And see, those strips are all embroidered. I did some close-ups, so we'll see those. But I just
Oh,
wanted to
nice.
show the quilting.
neat.
Yeah, I wonder. You didn't have a plaque or anything with it to
No,
tell.
it just said embroidered Northern Indiana. There was no name, so I figured it
Hmm.
must have come from some collection.
Yeah,
But there's,
nice.
I wonder if it's an antique one.
Yeah, it's hand quilted and hand embroidered.
Yeah.
I figured
It
that
might
it
just
was some antique. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it's one of their older antique ones. I mean, since it's a museum and they have a lot, I'm sure.
Oops.
Cool. See, that's where you put your embroidery into your quilt.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like,
Nice.
French knots.
yeah, I like French knots. I've never had a problem with French knots ever.
No, me
The
neither.
very first things I ever cross stitched as an adult had French knots, and I don't know. They show you how to do it. You just do it like it says,
Yeah. Well,
and it
we could
comes out
line
just
up. We
fine.
could
What's the problem?
we could line up 50 people right now who hate them. So
I know. They must not be doing it right.
I don't know.
That's what I figure.
We've talked to enough
I
highly skilled people who hate them. So I don't know.
I know. That's just so funny.
Just some people
Yeah.
connect and some don't. So anyway, there's that
I
one.
guess so.
This was so wild.
Oh, cool. What is that?
This is Judith Phelps, The Value of Gears, based, and this is a cool story. So it's based on artwork in the book The Invention of Hugo Cabret
Yes.
by
I
Brian
thought I
Selznick.
recognized this.
Okay. And Judith is a member of a cover-to-cover book club. They read 2 books annually and then make quilts about something representing one of the books. And so she did this one from Brian Selznick's The Invention of Hugo Cabret. And this is
Mm-hmm.
cottons, metal gears, machine pieced and quilted, and thread painted. And there's a lot of,
Ooh.
I did some close-ups of each of these panels, so we'll be able to
Oh,
look.
neat.
But like these were real gears in here, right in here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Oh, like physical,
Like
actual
metal.
gears that yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. That
Yeah.
they sewed on.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I know that. I have that book.
Oh, okay.
It's children's books, but they're like half written and half picture.
Oh,
And they're really cool. Like really neat.
oh, neat.
but I did these close-ups because I had to see how she did it.
Wow. So is that thread painting with using the machine
I assume
thread
so. Yeah.
painting? It
Yeah.
looks
That
like
looks
machine.
Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome.
I hope people aren't bored.
Oh,
I don't know.
yeah. And just so you know, Michelle Long, she received her prize pack from Australia,
Ho,
in
hooray,
Australia.
Michelle.
Oh,
I just
yay.
Hooray.
thought you'd like to know.
Ooh, look at
Yay.
those metal bits.
Yeah, that
Glad to
is
hear it,
cool.
Michelle. I wondered how long it would take. But yeah, this is, metal, actual
That's
metal
awesome.
gears. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, very cool.
But then, look at the gradation, the shadowing, everything.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
And she didn't cheat under the table either.
I see that.
She didn't just get sloppy. Yeah.
Some people can really work their machines and do amazing,
Oh,
amazing
here,
stuff.
yeah. Here, I took one more from an angle so you could see the metal.
Yeah, that's so
Oh, that
cool.
is. Yeah, this one I like. Look
Mm-hmm.
at that.
Now, I didn't know about this children's book. Now I got to get one.
Oh
Is it
yeah.
a series of
They're
books?
he's got I think at least 3 out,
Oh, okay.
and they're all about 3 inches thick or so. 2, 3 inches. They're big, but they're awesome.
Have to get one. Grandsons like to be read to.
Oh. Yeah, these are like half reading, half picture. They're huge though. They're not some small children's
Okay.
book. Like I said, thick 3 inch book. They're in like the reading age children's section.
Okay. All right. Well, I know a good bookstore here in St. Louis, so.
I know I can't remember the other names of the books, and I know I have them just in the other room.
Okay, so this last one here, if we go back to see what he's making down here,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
okay, that's this panel right here.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. And I think that's so neat.
Yep. Got the pebble quilting.
That's what it's called. Makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, the circles, it's pebble. That's nice. My pebble quilting just doesn't look that good. Like I said, I don't practice enough. I need
Yeah.
to. I've got a lot of stuff needs quilted. I need to get down to the basement. Now that the cat box isn't down there and it's not a mess, I need to get down there and work on my quilts too. I just have so many hobbies.
For some reason I did too. I don't know. Okay, so that's Judith Phelps, The Value of Gears, all right? Now, this next thing was the main exhibit, and this was so cool. This is, I'm just going to read what it is before I show you the first one. Well, here, I'll show you the first one. Okay, this is Quilted Swing, SWING, Quilted Swing Coats exhibit by Patricia Montgomery, and it's a tribute to civil rights movement, to the civil rights movement. Patricia Montgomery is a textile and installation artist. Her work focuses on African American historical and mythical stories. The civil rights movement, led by African Americans, used nonviolent civil disobedience actions that transformed the country and became a catalyst for other national and international civil disobedience actions. Many African American women made major contributions to the movement, and the swing coats illustrate their stories. So there's probably, I want to say there's 30 of these coats. I photographed maybe half of them, and I'm going to show you just a portion of them. But they were on walls and they were hanging from the ceiling. But each one is about one of these women who, African American women who did something significant during the civil rights movement. And so I just chose 4 for this. And so, and she made a coat. These are full-blown coats, like you could wear it for each of these women.
Nice.
So this first one is Septima Poinsettia Clark. She's was a freedom teacher who developed literacy and citizenship workshops that played an important role in the drive for voting and civil rights. So this is the coat,
Cool.
and I have close-ups, so I'm not going to zoom in every time. But you know, she she made these quilts.
Neat.
It reminded me of kimonos.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the needlework kimonos, only
Yeah.
coats.
Right. And how the
Mm-hmm.
kimonos are supposed to tell the story of the person or something
Right.
with the symbolism on them. So it's like the same idea, but for,
Yeah.
different people and
And then
cool.
she tells about in these panels, depending on who the lady is, and she tells about
Right.
different things they did and
Oh, that's neat.
like Martin Luther King Jr. Award 1970.
Oh,
Uh,
cool.
Very neat.
That is.
this was
I
quite
bet
a
it would be.
what's that?
It's gonna be. I bet that was impressive to see them all
Yeah,
lined
it's
up there too.
very moving, very moving. Yeah, because they're hanging like this one's hanging out in space, and you can see the one back here is hanging in space. So
Mm-hmm.
you're immersed in it. It's not just stuff plastered on the walls. You're walking in and
Right.
around these things. So it had a whole different feel to it. This is Fannie Lou Hamer, Hamer, who founded the Freedom Farm Cooperative, and this is a cool story. Founded the Freedom Farm Cooperative with a $10,000 donation from some charitable organization in Wisconsin. She purchased 40 acres of prime Delta land in Sunflower County, Mississippi, and then empowered poor black farmers and sharecroppers, taught them how to grow crops, and basically built a multifaceted self-help program. And then it said in the description that she had a lot of success, but she couldn't sustain it without some government help or whatever, and that didn't materialize, so the thing died. But
Oh,
yeah, obviously she did a lot of good for people who were trying to make a living and taught them skills that they needed.
right.
Hmm.
It's just crazy that people used to think like this.
Yeah,
I just,
Yeah.
I'm like, it's hard to even imagine.
yeah, it really is.
I'm like,
And enforced it, and it was,
yeah,
it just,
I never understood. I'm like, why? Even when I
yeah,
was a kid, I asked my mom, like, why? I don't, who cares? It's like,
right,
why? I don't get it.
Yeah.
Like, they're all just people.
yeah. So this next one now is, I'll screw this up, but Majeska Monteith Simpkins, Columbia human rights advocate, matriarch of the civil rights movement in South Carolina, and leader in, I knew I was going to forget what AA is, Public Health and Social
Uh,
Reform. I shortened that up and I thought, oh, I'll remember. And now I forget what AA is. It's not Alcoholics Anonymous.
no, it had to have been something different
No.
back then.
Yeah, I
Uh,
see. I knew that's what I get for trying to shorten things. Anyway, um, uh,
Something with agriculture? See,
yeah, I'll remember it after this is over. So yeah, so this this is and each of these coats obviously are uniquely designed, different color combinations.
mm-hmm.
And here she actually put photos on.
Hmm.
Yeah, this looks like it's that farm one.
Oh man, I wish I remember what AA was. Yeah, well,
Yeah, that's a cool one. I like the
yeah,
colors on that.
Mm-hmm.
Freedom Cooperative. Okay.
I don't know. Well, no, I lost it.
No.
There it is. Okay, then this one, this is the last one.
Ooh.
This is Daisy Lee Bates, a mentor, publisher, journalist, lecturer who played a leading role in Little Rock's integration crisis in '57 and Bates's home was a safe haven for the Little Rock Nine. And that's her oh, I got these goofed up. This is Majeska Monteith's sink. Oh, I'm sorry, I goofed them up. No, I really messed up the show. What did I do? I don't know. Well, sorry. I got them messed up, sorry. But you know, you can see it was hanging out in space.
Mm-hmm.
Worked with Thurgood Marshall.
I like this one with the weird how she put the quilt squares in there. The log cabin
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
is that pattern. Yeah, so that's nice.
Whoops. Oh no. Okay. I got goofed up. Right. So this is Daisy Lee Bates. I'm sorry. This is Daisy Lee Bates. She's the mentor at Little Rock Nine. This is her coat.
Ooh.
Oops.
I think maybe you're right about AA being leader in African American public health and social reform.
That's what it was. African American. Yeah.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Snooper.
Thank you. Yes. So this is Daisy Lee Bates. So that's Bates. This is Simpkins. This is
Fannie
Hamer.
Lou Hamer.
Yeah, this is Hamer here. And this is I don't know.
Is that Septa Poinsettia Clark?
This is Septima Poinsettia Clark here.
Okay.
So I had one in there and I didn't know. Oh well.
That's all right. So if anyone lives near Paducah, you should go see these. Is what we're saying.
Right.
And go see them. Go see these quilts.
Yeah, it's quite a display. I don't know how long this exhibit is up, but and just the project alone to research all these women and then design a coat for every one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very.
I hope this travels around the country.
It probably does. So they're part of this big quilt show, and it's the International Quilt, and that I can't remember the name of it.
Okay, you guys are going back
Jennifer,
on
do you
camera.
know?
You guys are going back on screen because that was the end.
Okay, all right. Well, we can be back on international. Let me look it up. No, I can't.
Some International Quilting Association, or yeah, there is that. I forget too, because I still look at the quilts, but I haven't been immersed in the world of quilting, like really immersed for a while.
Okay. So it's the International Quilt Festival, and it like the next one they're going to have is in Houston. So it's that's and
I think it's always
it might
in
be there.
Houston. Isn't it always in Houston?
They have the big one in Houston, but they also will have one like locally. They have one locally in up in Chicago. That's where they used to have. They've had it in Cincinnati. The same quilt show. It's not as big as Houston.
Maybe
Not
it's
as
a
big as
smaller offshoot. Maybe the main one is in Houston.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So they'll have like if they're doing a challenge, you can see those challenge quilts at those smaller venues.
Oh.
Right. And then sometimes the big quilts will tour to the big winners. They tour to
the smaller venues.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, this exhibit deserves to be all around the country and shown in every school. It was powerful. It was really good. Yeah. So there we go. I didn't think we'd get through all that. We did.
Woohoo!
Aren't quilts fun?
Yeah. No, it was really eye-opening to see what is done with quilts. That's amazing art.
Mhm.
And that was just a
Mhm.
tiny little sampling.
Yeah, yeah. Well, there was a whole other room, a whole other third of the place
Oh,
I
I
didn't even
bet.
go in. I didn't go in.
Right.
Didn't have time.
Right.
So
Yeah.
there you go. Even if you don't ever do another quilt, you at least see that it is amazing art. And as we do with needle and thread, there are people who can do incredible things with pieces of cloth. So,
Yep.
Mhm.
yep,
Just
Absolutely.
needle and thread on 3 layers because it's
yeah,
not just one layer of fabric.
that's
You have
right.
the top,
Right.
the batting, and the back.
Yep,
That's right.
So you're doing it through
That's
all
right.
3 layers.
yeah. Very cool stuff. Very cool. So,
Mhm.
yeah, if you get to Paducah, and Paducah alone, I think Margaret and I are going to go back and do like a weekend thing because driving around Paducah, um, that's quite a town in its own right. We ate with a Gold Rush Cafe. That was pretty cool. And then the seawall, because it's at the confluence of the Tennessee and the Ohio rivers. And the seawall there is all painted, beautifully painted with historical panels for Paducah. And then we were told, we just drove by, that there are metal plaques at the base of each one that explain them. Oh, so Beth, you read
Oh.
those then, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, it's been yeah, I was looking back. I was going back through pictures and just saying, Max, we need to go travel again. Look,
Yeah.
we've been here. He goes, I take you to the best places, Beth. And I was like, yeah, you do, Han.
And there was this great
So,
big boat. It looked like kind of a paddle wheel thing that was docked.
Mm.
And I thought, oh, we got to find out if that's, we can come down and go out for a day on the boat. And Margaret was researching it. It was one of those riverboat cruises that cruises up and down the Ohio or whatever. And it was at Paducah at 8 in the morning and then left again at 10 at night. So people could spend the day in Paducah. So
Oh, okay.
it started in Louisville, I think. But yeah, so it was one of those, $7,000 or $8,000 river cruises.
Okay.
yeah,
Like
Yeah,
those paddle steamers.
right. Yeah,
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I know locally here we have one that just does like a quick couple hour trip. There's got to be one there that
that's
does
what
a
I was
quick
hoping
little.
for. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So we'll research it some more. But I think we're going back to Paducah because there's a lot of other art there that I'd like to see.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
And then did you go walk by the train? Is the big
Yep,
train still steam engine
yep.
out there?
Still
Yeah.
there.
Oh
Yeah.
my
Yeah,
gosh.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool.
and a ton of old buildings. I love old architecture. A ton of
Yes.
it. Yeah.
Antique stores. There was all sorts of antique
Yep.
stores when we were there.
Yep.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah,
Yeah.
very cool. Nice little town, and
Mm-hmm.
it was easy to get to. It was just basically a drive across the Mississippi, went down along the river, in effect, and there we were. So it worked out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
Okay, that's it. Send your emails in so we can do the drawing. Hope you enjoyed the quilt thing. Got a little embroidery in there, a little needle and thread, but hope you enjoyed it. Really eye opening what's available. Yep.
Yeah.
So there we have it. All right.
All right.
Our next 2 Wednesdays now, there will not be any podcast or Wednesday night show, but we will have the Sunday podcast, and then we'll be back on the 9th with I don't know, yeah,
He
something.
doesn't know what he's
Who
talking.
knows
We'll do
by then?
something.
That's a long time
Yeah.
from now.
We'll have it
I don't
figured
plan
out.
my life out that far.
Yeah, I don't know. All right. Thanks everybody for joining us. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in a couple weeks. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.